Welcome to today's story. We're taking a journey back through the life and career of Michael Vick, a quarterback who wasn't just another player on the field. He was a phenomenon. He had speed that stunned defenders, an arm that could launch passes down the field in the blink of an eye, and a style that changed the way people thought about his position. He amazed fans, he inspired kids, he made the impossible look easy. But his journey wasn't only about highlights and cheers. It also carried mistakes, consequences, and a long road to redemption. This is the story of Michael Vick, one of football's most unforgettable stars. Michael Dwayne Vick was born in Newport News, Virginia, on June 26, 1980. His childhood was shaped by challenges. He grew up in a tough neighborhood where crime and poverty were part of daily life. His family didn't have much, and his path wasn't easy. But Michael had a gift, something that would always set him apart: his athletic ability. From the time he was a kid, people around him noticed that he could run faster, move quicker, and throw farther than almost anyone else. Football became more than just a game for him. It became a way to dream, a way to imagine a future beyond the struggles of his environment. At Warwick High School, Vick's talent began to shine. Coaches saw that he was special. He wasn't the typical quarterback. He was a playmaker, someone who could change a game with one throw or one run. College recruiters quickly started paying attention. Vick's speed was rare. His ability to escape defenders made him nearly unstoppable at the high school level. He was the kind of player who made crowds stand up every time he touched the ball, because everyone knew something special could happen. When it came time for college, Michael chose to stay close to home and attend Virginia Tech. That decision would transform not only his life, but also the program itself. In 1999, as a redshirt freshman, Vick burst onto the national scene. He wasn't just good, he was electric. That season, he led Virginia Tech to the national championship game, an achievement that lifted the Hokies to new heights in college football. His combination of speed, agility, and throwing power left defenses baffled. He wasn't just another quarterback. He was changing the very definition of what a quarterback could be. Though Virginia Tech didn't win the national championship, Vick's performance left a lasting impression. He finished third in the Heisman Trophy voting that year and became a household name. Suddenly, the whole country knew who Michael Vick was. He made Virginia Tech a national powerhouse and showed the world that quarterbacks didn't have to fit into the same mold. He played his way, with flair, instinct, and fearlessness. The NFL was waiting. In 2001, Michael Vick entered the NFL draft, and the Atlanta Falcons made him the first overall pick. It was history. Vick became the first African-American quarterback ever selected with the #1 pick. The moment was bigger than just football. It was symbolic of the growing opportunities for black quarterbacks in a league that had long been reluctant to embrace them. Atlanta didn't just draft a player. They drafted hope, excitement, and a new era. From the moment he put on a Falcons jersey, Vick took the league by storm. Defenses had never seen anything like him. In his first few years, he made plays that looked impossible. He could sprint away from defensive linemen, shake off linebackers, and still fire a laser pass 50 yards down the field. By 2002, he had led the Falcons to the playoffs, and in 2003 he delivered one of the most iconic plays in NFL history, an overtime run against the Minnesota Vikings where he weaved through defenders, making them collide into each other as he sprinted into the end zone. It was pure magic. Vick became more than just a football star. He became a cultural icon. Kids wore his jersey, fans filled stadiums just to watch him play, and he became the face of Madden NFL 2004, a video game that immortalized his skills. Anyone who played that game remembers how unstoppable he was. For a whole generation, Michael Vick wasn't just a quarterback. He was the definition of cool, the player you wanted to be, the athlete who seemed larger than life. But behind the highlights and fame, trouble was brewing. Fame brings pressure, money brings temptation, and choices carry consequences. In 2007, Vick's life changed forever. He was indicted for his role in a dogfighting operation. The news shocked the sports world. The quarterback who had been celebrated as one of the most exciting players in the league was now facing federal charges. Fans were stunned, sponsors cut ties, and the Falcons suspended him. The fall from grace was swift and severe. Vick was sentenced to nearly 2 years in federal prison. For a man who had been on top of the world, it was a devastating crash. Everything he had worked for, the fame, the money, the admiration was gone. His career was in ruins, and his reputation was shattered. Many believed he would never play football again. But prison became a turning point for Michael Vick. In interviews later, he described it as the lowest moment of his life, but also the moment that forced him to reflect. For the first time, he had to confront who he was and the choices that had led him there. It wasn't easy. It meant facing harsh truths about his past, the people around him, and the mistakes he had made. When Vick was released in 2009, his future was uncertain. Could he ever return to football? Would any team take a chance on him? The answer came from the Philadelphia Eagles. They signed Vick, knowing it would be controversial, but also believing in the possibility of redemption. At first, fans protested. Many were outraged. But inside the team, Vick went to work. He accepted a backup role, humbled himself, and began rebuilding not just his career, but his life. In 2010, he got his chance to start again, and he made the most of it. That season, he reminded the world of what made him special. But he also showed growth. He wasn't just relying on speed and instinct anymore. He had improved as a passer, as a leader, and as a professional. His performance on Monday Night Football against Washington that year, over 300 passing yards, 80 rushing yards, and 6 total touchdowns, remains one of the greatest single-game performances in NFL history. Vick was named NFL Comeback Player of the Year, and his story became one of second chances. He had gone from the heights of fame to the depths of prison, and then fought his way back to respect. His time in Philadelphia wasn't just about football, it was about redemption. He used his platform to speak about animal rights, to mentor young players, and to teach others about the consequences of choices. The later years of his career were quieter. He had stints with the Jets and the Steelers, contributing as a veteran presence, before officially retiring in 2017. By then, his legacy was no longer just about highlight reels. It was about a journey, one of brilliance, mistakes, consequences, and growth. Michael Vick's legacy is complex, but it's also undeniable. He changed the quarterback position forever. Today's stars, players like Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, and Jalen Hurts, owe part of their style and opportunity to what Vick showed was possible. He was proof that a quarterback could be both a passer and a runner, that the position didn't have to be defined by old traditions. He inspired a generation, and his influence is still seen every Sunday. For fans, his story is unforgettable. They remember the jaw-dropping runs, the 70-yard passes, the video game moments that seemed unreal. They also remember the pain of his downfall, the headlines that made them question their hero. And they remember the comeback, the chance to see him rise again. His story is about football, yes, but it's also about humanity. It shows us that talent is a gift, that mistakes have consequences, and that redemption is possible when someone is willing to change. Michael Vick will always be a name that sparks conversation. For some, he is a symbol of brilliance. For others, a reminder of flaws. But in the end, he is both. And maybe that's why his story matters so much. Because it isn't perfect, it isn't simple, but it is real. It is the story of a man who lived through it all and found a way to stand again. Thank you for watching and being part of this journey through the life and legacy of Michael Vick. If his story reminded you of the power of talent, the lessons of mistakes, and the hope of second chances, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video if it moved you, share it with others who love the game, and subscribe so you never miss another story like this. Because athletes like Michael Vick don't just change football, they remind us of what it means to fall and what it takes to rise again.